All right. Well, again, good evening, everybody. My name is Andrea Miller, and I am the founding board member and the executive director for Center for Common Ground. Many of you know one or several of our um, functions, organizations that we have. Many people joined us through our Reclaim Our Vote campaign. I saw Sandy, our co-director for the internship program, Students for Voting Justice. I spoke with our board member, Katie Hornung, this afternoon about vote equality, and you see the ruthless vote getter, our 27-foot RV. You see the map of our democracy centers, and I promise you I will get a new map because we now need to show our democracy center in Northern Virginia, and we also need to show our democracy center in New York. And I finally got one of the new postcards on the front of our presentation. Our mission is still very, very simple. We were founded to educate and empower underrepresented voters who live in voter suppression states so that they can participate in elections, and when they are not in election season, do the other part, advocate and hold the people that got elected accountable for their actions. Together, we can build a democracy that prioritizes the voices of all people. Now, my father was from Mississippi, and in Mississippi, they've got a saying, all means all, y'all. So for everybody. I love this old slide because I get to show off our growth. In 2020, we had 44,000 volunteers, and we contacted 14 million voters. We wrote 9.4 million postcards. We sent 2.9 million text messages, and we made 1.7 million phone calls. Well, this is 2024, and we've grown. There are now 85,000 volunteers. Our goal in 2024 is to contact 18 million voters, 12.5 million by postcards, 3.5 million by text message, and 2.5 million by phone call. We just got a notice the other day from our text message provider that the service that they use for sending text messages have basically doubled the rates. So our cost of sending text messages is going to be double what we budgeted. So we will be working on figuring all that out over the next few days. We are working in 7 states, and I've got to make everything smaller and get South Carolina on this list. I got it in the photograph, but I still haven't gotten it on the list. Our board requires, if we are working statewide in a state, that state have at least a 20% registered BIPOC population. In 2024, we are concentrating on Black voters. And the percentage that you see over on the right-hand side is the percentage of Black voters. And you'll notice Virginia, Florida, and Texas are under the 20% threshold. For Black voters, yes. But when we add the Hispanic voters and the AA and HPI voters, we are over our 20% threshold. Now, where are we reaching out to in these states? In Virginia, CD2, CD7, CD10. In North Carolina, Mecklenburg, the county that has the largest population of registered Black voters, followed by Wake County, followed by Greensboro, followed by CD1, which just happens to be in the North Carolina Black Belt. In Georgia, we are working in 5 congressional districts. In Florida and Texas, we are contacting Black women only in our outreach. In South Carolina, we are working in the PD region, otherwise known as the South Carolina Black Belt. And in Alabama, we are working on Congressional District 2. Congressional District 2 is a newly drawn district, as the great state of Alabama was required to redraw their congressional state senate and state house districts, because in the Milliken versus Alabama, he was able to prove that Alabama was a racially gerrymandered state. And the ramifications of that went through to Georgia. Georgia had to redistrict. It also went to North Carolina. North Carolina was forced to redistrict as well. So many of our voters are going to find themselves voting for people that they've never voted for before. Now, as I mentioned earlier, early voting has already started in Virginia, and it will start in Georgia on October 15th. Now, if anyone was wondering why is there so much voter suppression going on in Georgia, the answer is right there at the bottom of this slide. Currently, Georgia has 2.5 million registered Black voters, or 34% of the registered voters in Georgia are Black. Now, I did include the stats over on the right side that show the breakdown of the registered voting population in Georgia. So if we look at African American at 34%, and then we add Hispanic, and that's another 6%, 34 and 6, we are now at 40%. When we add in the Asians, that's roughly another 3%. 43% of Georgia registered voters are people of color. All right, now, as you all know, Hurricane Helene roared through a number of our southern states. And in Georgia, Congressional District 1, 8, and 12, districts where we are working with Black voters in those districts, were impacted. When you look at the map over on the left, you can see that a number of the counties in the Georgia Black Belt were impacted. We are working with our partners in Georgia Teen Unity to be part of a very organized mutual aid response. And so many of you may not know, because I don't really include it in my professional bio, but my background from 2006 to 2019 was in emergency management, and it was the IT organization of mutual aid response and communication. So I'm kind of going back to those skills and we will be configuring mutual aid software that we will technically be able to deploy in any of our impacted areas or districts that want it. Georgia Team Unity is mounting a response that will include most of these counties. Now, Georgia rulings. There have been some interesting rulings coming out of Georgia in the last couple of days. A number of people wrote me very, very concerned about the Georgia Board of Elections announcing they were going to hand count all the ballots. Now, they weren't hand counting the votes, mind you. They were just hand counting the ballots. And most people recognize that as a ploy to delay certification of the election results. Well, strangely enough, Governor Kemp and Brian Raffensperger were on our side. They did not join in the lawsuit, but there was a lawsuit. And a Fulton County judge basically said, the election results must be certified by 5 p.m. on November 12th. He said there may be people who agree on some things and disagree on others. He said, I don't care. The election must be certified on time. That is existing Georgia law. Now, also, literally in the same time period, different judge, they struck down Georgia's 6-week abortion ban as being unconstitutional. And there was a comment made, women are not community property. So in Georgia, we have seen 2 very, very positive rulings come out of the Georgia courts. Now, North Carolina, as I said, I will be in North Carolina tomorrow morning. I am leaving here at roughly 6:30 a.m. Now, North Carolina, the Black voting population is at 1.5 million. In Mecklenburg, actually, the numbers in Mecklenburg have gone up. There are now 242,000 registered Black voters, and Wake County is now over 151,000. So we are seeing the results of massive voter registration efforts going on in the state of North Carolina. Now, in North Carolina, the main impact area, or we are really doing work, as I mentioned, in Mecklenburg, Wake County, Guilford County, the counties with the largest number of registered Black voters. And we are also working in the North Carolina Black Belt. And there is a very long list of counties that are part of that Black Belt. Now, the impacted areas in North Carolina, I didn't get that slide area, are in this deck, are predominantly to the west of Mecklenburg County. So most of the counties where we are sending postcards and where we are working are not under a federal disaster declaration. Lenoir County is Lenoir County, and Iredell County are under the declaration. But most of the counties where we are working, the voters were not part of that massive hurricane damage. So now on to Virginia. Now, Virginia is only 15% Black. We've got less than 1 million registered Black voters. We don't have all the newly registered voters. That number may be almost at 890,000 now because they've registered a lot of new voters. And as you can see in the map, the large blue concentrations, those are Black voters in Richmond, in Northern Virginia, in Norfolk, Suffolk, Chesapeake, down south on the ocean side. Virginia, as I mentioned, started voting on September 20th. And so far, 347,000 people have already voted in Virginia. Now, this next slide is going to need quite a bit of explanation. Normally, early voting is what progressives and Democrats do. Virginia has a wily governor. When I look at the Secure Your Vote Virginia website, I noticed when I looked at it back in July that the website was now password protected. If you look at the numbers on the right, Republican, nonpartisan, Democratic, you will see that 43% of the early votes in Virginia are actually being cast by conservatives. What we are seeing is early voting numbers in our rural counties are actually going up, whereas the early voting numbers in our suburban and urban counties are either staying just about the same or maybe slightly lower. Because we have a C4 partner that has been doing a lot of outreach to women voters, it will be interesting to see if some of those Republican voters are actually women voters casting their vote for public schools or protecting reproductive freedom and various other things. We will not know how that finally washes out literally until the end of the election. Now, the chart over on the left, I have red arrows, I have a yellow arrow, and I have a blue arrow. If the arrow is red, that indicates the majority of the votes cast are actually Republican votes. Our district that is number 2 in voter turnout happens to have a Black woman first-time candidate. And what is very fascinating about that district is the votes are literally within 300 of each other in terms of turnout numbers. And District 5 is the district that is hotly contested by the 2 Republican candidates. Bob Good, who is currently chair of the Freedom Caucus, is running a write-in campaign against John McGuire, who beat him in the primary. And so the Republican vote in CD5 is split. We don't know how deep the split will be until literally the end of the election, but we do know that it's there. We know that a lot of the people in the rural district have gotten to know Gloria. She's a very, very hard campaigner. That district is going to be fascinating. There are no real surprises in turnout in any of the other districts, but District 1, CD1, and CD5 are very, very interesting. Now, we are working in CD7, we are working in CD2, and we are working in CD10. Right now, most of our phone banks have been for CD7. We have added in the CD2 phone bank, and we will be adding in CD10. South Carolina early voting will start on October 21st. And as I mentioned, we are predominantly working in the PD region, which is kind of central South Carolina. Alabama. Alabama has no early voting, so we will be purely doing election day voting in Alabama. We have 3 democracy centers in Alabama, and our Alabama democracy centers, hey, EC, hey, Doug, if you're able to join, have been phenomenal at building partnerships with all of the other organizations that are on the ground there. And so you can see Montgomery, which is basically the start of the Alabama Black Belt. And then you can see as it goes down through very rural counties, terminating in the city of Mobile. So we are getting ready to do more postcards into Alabama, and Alabama will be running a very robust texting campaign, which I will get to later. And we will also be running a very robust phone campaign. If you look at the numbers, you can see Alabama CD2 is 52.3% African American. And the Europeans in that district are in the minority. It is 40% white, but it is 60% people of color, the new majority minority district. Florida. Florida is a state where we have a new partner. We are working only with Black women in Florida. Florida was a state where in 2022, the conservatives opened a number of community centers where they really, really worked very hard to recruit Black men to their cause, and they were reasonably successful. So since our resources are very, very limited, we decided we would do outreach to Black women in Florida. And we chose the larger, more urban counties, and we also chose some of the rural counties as well. So when we look at the counties that were impacted by the hurricane came up the base side as opposed to the ocean side. So you can see the counties along the edge there. And these are the counties that were impacted. And we are working in Hillsborough, Pinellas. Those are the main 2 that we are working in. The others, Miami-Dade, Broward, Duval, they are all on the other side of the state, and they had little impact from the hurricane. So again, if people were concerned about postcards, the areas where we're working are relatively unscathed. And then we have the other country, the state of Texas. And when we look at the state of Texas, you will see that Texas is literally half and half. Half of it is BIPOC and the other half is not. So Texas is a very interesting state. When we look at the difference between registered women and men, it is almost 700,000 voter difference. It is going to be interesting to see how the women in Texas feel about what is going on in Texas regarding reproductive freedom and various other things. So somebody is drawing on my slide. Luckily, they're drawing on the overlay of the slide. It is not the slide itself. So you won't get that. All right, now our on the screen, our new postcards. Many of you have seen the new James Brown postcard this year because we have been successful with our fundraising. We have been able to assist the democracy centers with the purchase of postcards. And the James Brown private label postcard has been very, very, very successful. James Brown, the artist, the godfather of soul, the civil rights activist, the voting rights activist, was born in California, but he spent most of his adult life in Augusta, Georgia. And so one of my favorite things that I got to do this year was support the Cobb County Democracy Center and their partnerships with the League of Women Voters, the Divine Nine, and 3 colleges and universities to purchase 150,000 private label postcards. Now, why do I refer to these cards as private label? It is because there is a limited use copyright that is part of each of these cards. And our board member, Katie Hornung of Vote Equality, has permission to use that copyright. So we have postcards. And then the other postcards that have gone to the democracy centers have been the brand new 2024 version of Vote Your Power, and then the sister card, Vote Your Future. All right, now I am going to invite, since we are talking about postcards, for members of our postcard team to give you the numbers and let you know where we are, and you still postcard what is going on. So I want to show this one last postcard from Tony. He has really taken creating these postcards to a whole nother level, and he has truly turned them into art. So I'm going to invite Nancy or Dee or both to give an update on where we are with postcards.
All right. Well, I'm happy to share. Can everybody
Yes,
see?
we see.
Awesome, awesome. So we made really big gains in North Carolina last week. We asked our organizers to rally the troops to write to North Carolina, and boy, howdy, did you respond. We're mailing Virginia and Georgia out. So thank you to everyone who is doing the outreach and writing the cards in these final days. So you can see from the graph that we have kept up in doing, adding more addresses, and as the certain states get depleted, and we are just continuing that upward trend. We are 68%, 4.2 million assigned. We're we're chasing 3 million We had a gain of 145 this thousand this week, mostly North Carolina because it's so important. So, this is going to be the final report for Virginia and Georgia because everything should be mailed by now, right? So for Virginia, we reached out to 165,000 voters. And in Georgia, we wrote to over a million sent, 1.1 million. Everybody did such a great job here. And you can see in Georgia, we just kept kicking up the addresses, kicking them up, and y'all just met the challenge. So thank you, everyone. So mailing by October 15th, we have 63% of almost a million assigned to writers, and this is up 93,000, like I said before. We've written 600,000. Let's keep it up. I know it's tough to do those final postcards, but please, let's keep it going. Florida, 66% of almost a million. Black women, very exciting because reproductive rights are on the ballot, and we definitely want to hear their voices. So modest gains this week as people focus on North Carolina. Same story with Texas. We're just really drilling into the high priority North Carolina. South Carolina and Alabama, I think we're going to be doing more of those later, uh, later, and we have a ways to go, but we are doing really, really well. You can see North Carolina trending up. Florida, we really kicked up the number of addresses there and we met it. Um, Texas, we're meeting our goals. We're coming close. South Carolina and Alabama, we will get there. So thank you so much for all your hard work. Please rally those final riders. We can do this. Let's just all gas, no brakes. Let's make it happen. Thanks, y'all, for all your hard work.
Oh, thank you, Dee. And I mean, I love that. All gas, no brakes. That kind of sounds like the way I drive. You wouldn't hear that from me.
And I just wanted to pop in and say, if people didn't see the offer for $2,500 match, if we all donate $25 each, that will make the match. And if you can't have it, donate 5. And if you can do it, donate more. And let's try to make that match during this call.
Oh, wow. Wow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. This is really, really great because states that normally people don't pay any attention to, Virginia, Florida, Texas, are going to play a very, very, very important role. I was just at a speaking with members of a church, and they were talking about the electoral college and how it isn't fair. And one of the things I added was, yes, it isn't fair, but when we talk about, quote, the target states, the swing states, Florida and Texas are sort of never mentioned. Florida and Texas each have 40 electoral votes. Florida has reproductive freedom on the ballot along with legalized marijuana. So we have women and we have young people. There is a tremendous opportunity here, people, a tremendous opportunity. So we are plowing the road and let's get this done. All right, now, phones. We are rapidly approaching the time when you will not be able to write any more postcards. So we invite you to phone bank with us. Now, everybody loves our phone banks. They're very, very easy to use. You don't need to bring a phone. You are in this meeting via Zoom. You will be making phone calls using the audio on your computer, so no one is going to get your phone number. The other thing is, we are calling Black voters to give them election information. We are not selling them candidates or anything. We're just letting them know where they can vote, when it's open, and potentially answering questions. As we work in these rural communities, you're going to discover a very strange thing. The voters, when the phone rings, they answer it, and they will have a conversation with you. And some of the voters will actually thank you for calling them, because they don't normally get called, but they do have a vote. And many of these elections are statewide, so it doesn't matter where we get the vote as long as we get it. Now, when you go to our phone bank page at centerforcommonground.org/phone banks, if you are very, very comfortable with technology, we've got a button there that says watch our training video. And you can watch the video and go, oh, this looks pretty simple. I think I can do that. Now, for those of you who like training, we offer training every Tuesday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern, and every Saturday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. And there will be other national guided phone banks added. Our partners at the Workers Circle offer training every Wednesday, and it's on Zoom. You're in a group setting, and we walk you through using the phone banks. Now, right on our phone bank page, this is where you can sign up for either one of our phone banks or a partner phone bank. And then once you know how our phone banks work, all right, I'll do the impact. I thought I changed the order. Our phone banks really do work. We did this study in 2021, and we'll do a new one in 2024, I promise you. In 2021, this is Petersburg, Virginia. In 2021, it was considered very, very unsafe, and no one was willing to go door knocking in Petersburg. It has since become more gentrified, and people are very willing to go to Petersburg. But in 2021, this is pre-gentrification. There were 36% of our voters where we did not have a phone number. So they, of course, did not get a phone call. We leave voicemails. It's our belief that if there is an opportunity to leave a voicemail, it's like knocking on a door and then you didn't leave literature. We are going to leave the voter a voicemail with where they can early vote if the state has early voting, how they can find out where early voting is, the phone number of their registrar. Now, what we found in 2021 was when we left voicemails and we went back and looked at who voted, plus almost 6% turnout increase in terms of people who showed up and voted. And now back in 2021, people got really excited if Petersburg actually turned out in double digits. So a 6% increase was huge. For the voters that we talked to, 17.3% turnout. And I already talked about why our phone banks work. We give them information on early voting in person, early voting by mail, and then voting on election day. Now, right on our phone bank page, we have our phone banks. So they're organized by state, and right below the state banner, it will tell you what kind of information you're going to be giving the voters, who you're going to be calling. So CD7, Spot C, Caroline, Fredericksburg, CD2, Virginia Beach. As one county phone bank gets finished, new buttons come up and replace them. North Carolina phone banks are running. We've got the urban one calling Mecklenburg, and we've got our rural one calling Nash County. Since people are enjoying talking to voters, we will probably get more rural counties up. We will also have Wake County going up very soon. In Georgia, we are calling Cobb County, Douglas, Henry County. These are areas where we have democracy centers. And we even have a phone bank for young phone bankers to call other young people. All the voters in this phone bank are between the ages of 18 and 30. And then we just launched Texas. Our partners in Texas have asked us to call the second tier counties, not Harris County, which is Houston, or Dallas County, but Tarrant, Bahar, and several of the other counties. So Tarrant is our first county that has gone up. Now, there is early voting, and there's also vote by mail. Vote by mail in Texas has its issues. There is one drop box per county. So imagine Harris County having more than 1.2 million voters, and they've got one drop box. But in order to vote by mail in Texas, you have to be 65 years or older, sick, or disabled. And again, they've only got one drop box per county. We've launched the Florida phone banks. So the first county that has gone up is Broward, not a county particularly impacted by the hurricane. We will potentially put up Miami-Dade next, since that one is available, and then maybe a third large Florida county. Most of the phone banks are launched. South Carolina will be launched, and it didn't launch on October. Oh, actually, it didn't launch on October 1st. Alabama, we will probably push Montgomery and Mobile back a little bit. Again, they have no early voting, and we want people to be able to get calls into these counties with early voting. All right, now I'm going to take off my Center for Common Ground hat, and I'm going to do one shout out for our partner organization, National Women's Political Caucus of Virginia. If you as an individual want to do calls for candidates, we have 5 endorsed women candidates in Virginia. We will be doing phone bank training for them on Saturday between 4 to 6 p.m. I'll be creating a breakout room, and so people who are doing C4 calls will bring you into a breakout room, and then we'll work with you there. Texting has launched, and Virginia is 80% complete. I think we've got maybe 2 or 3 more counties that we're going to release. Georgia actually is ready to go. We haven't launched it. North Carolina, we've got counties that are ready to go. And we also have counties in Florida. Later this month, we will be getting Texas ready. And we think when we launch Alabama, we are going to have enough texters from Alabama where they will take care of all the text. Now, as I said, we are working through what this double the cost of texting is going to look like for anything that we launch after October 1st. And that is because Twilio, the communication company that Outreach Circle uses, has doubled their prices. So we used to pay 0.01 or a penny per text segment. We now are paying 0.016. We have heard from other people that their rates have gone up to over 2.4 cents per segment. So our costs are still low compared with what other vendors are charging, but they're also going to be twice what we budgeted. We're doing canvassing again in our democracy centers. They've got people on the ground. They are going out. They are knocking on the doors. Our information for our democracy centers is nonpartisan. It tells people about early voting locations, election day, why they're voting, if it's a photo ID, what photo ID or voter ID is needed. And then two really important pieces of information. Active Vote, find out what offices / candidates are on your ballot. Mecklenburg County, North Carolina, most voters are going to have 35 offices on their ballot. And then check your registration and make sure your registration is still active. That is what we will be handing out. And we will probably print nearly 100,000 of these for our various democracy centers and partners to hit the doors. And again, we invite everybody to get Active Vote so that you can find out, number one, who is on your ballot, number two, who are all the elected officials at your address. And I normally say from the White House to the outhouse, all the way down to your county level judges, if you elect them. And the other side of voting, after the election is over, bills. What bills have been introduced in your state legislature? And then you can look at bills and you can say, I support this bill, I like this one, I'm opposed to that one. And then as votes begin to happen, you can see how your elected representative voted on legislation. Are you in alignment, or are they totally off in a direction that is not yours? So you can really see, well, are they voting your values or are they voting theirs? And let's see, we again built the Virginia early voting list because the Virginia Board of Elections again failed to do so this year. So anybody working in Virginia, you know, any organizations, the list is online. We did not password protect it. We designed it for everyone who wants to get information on early voting. vavoter.net/EV list. Outreach Circle is the platform that we utilize for texting. And this slide has all of your links. And if you want to volunteer, cfcg.news/volunteer. And I know Josie has already dropped it in the chat, our givebutter.com. So you will see that we raised more money than we had originally hoped to raise. And then, as I said, our texting vendor announced that texting was going to cost double what we originally thought that it would. So that is my presentation for tonight. I had a lot of information to share, so I am more than willing to be here and answer questions. So team, are there questions in the chat that I need to answer? Yes,
Yes.
Nancy. Oh boy.
My point was only that Josie said we're only $710 away from meeting that match.
Oh yeah, Sandy put in a little match, for a little, a very generous match, 2,500. And people have been donating throughout the call, which is really lovely. So thank you all for your support. And while you check out our donate page, Andrea, we had two questions about texting. When will we be holding any text banks? And I know we don't have any officially plans because we have so many texting volunteers already, and it kind of, I think, is a matter of how much money we're going to have to spend for bigger campaigns. But can you give an idea of if we will have text banks and when those will likely be?
I don't have a date. I am willing to hold 2 texting trainings. We have 400 people who currently text for us, but I know there is the Alabama team. They are doing a training. So outside that team training, I'm certainly more than willing to host 2 others. They will obviously be in October. I have a number of in-person events that I'm doing in the month of October. So I'm trying to figure out when I'm going to be somewhere where I'm reasonably comfortable about the internet and set up the trainings. So it will be on the Center for Common Ground website. We actually have a texting page, which is probably hidden because there hasn't been anything on it. But there will be 2 and only 2 texting trainings. You must be in Outreach Circle in order to text with us because we deploy all actions on Outreach Circle. And I will probably do maybe a Sunday afternoon training because there's a lot of people that are kind of at home and they're watching their text messages on Sunday, Saturday, they're out shopping, and then we'll do one evening training. But I don't have the dates right now, so I will need to figure that out.
Thank you. And we just got a question in the chat. I was about to kind of answer this about the slides and the recording. All of that is going to be sent out in a follow-up email, probably tomorrow. Maybe if I can talk with Andrea, well, I'll send out an email also to folks who've signed up to volunteer for texting once we have those states set up. But tomorrow I will send links for phone banking, postcarding, all of that. So don't worry, everything we talked about today will be in the follow-up email.
And I will look at my calendar and then I will give you 2 dates and times to set up texting training so we can build the Action Network pages and then people will be able to sign up.
Thank you. Any other questions for folks? I think we did a pretty good job answering most in the chat. Arlene, signing up for texting, all of this, if you sign up for the training, you will get an email after you sign up instructing you how to get yourself an account so that when the text bank takes place, you will already be signed up and registered on Outreach Circle to text.
Yes, right, exactly. When you sign up, we will give you the outreach circle link. And when we do the training, the expectation is you are already in outreach circle so that we can deploy the texting actions to you and you'll be able to text. Our system is very, very simple. The training is 15 to 20 minutes. And then you just send X and respond to the replies.
For folks asking when to sign up, we don't have the dates yet. When the dates are available, you will know. If you
Yeah.
got an email about this event, you'll know about texting, but those should be up on the website and sent probably in the follow-up email. So we don't have them yet, but we will in the next few days.
Right. Yeah, there will be a Sunday afternoon training and an evening training. Phone bank training is every Tuesday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Every Saturday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Our partners at the Worker Circle offer training on Wednesdays from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And that is every week. And we love new phone bankers. Josie, do we have a date yet for phone banking for introverts yet?
Not yet, but it's in the works, and I will definitely emphasize we are happy to have folks text, but our phone banks, we always needed more people calling, and our phone banks really, really make a huge difference. Every time during guided phone banks, we get testimony from volunteers saying how lovely their live conversations are, how much of it how grateful people are that we're calling them because they're usually not being reached by others. So I know it can feel intimidating, but I highly encourage coming to our guided phone banks. They're run by wonderful volunteers and they walk you through everything so that you feel really comfortable and empowered to continue calling with us. So please join us with that if you can as well.
All right. And yes, let me look. All right. Where are we on the new match?
We are well, sorry, give me 2 minutes. I know we're out of the call. I just need to do some extra math.
Okay. All right, yes. Hate making people do math.
We are at, oh, we're very close, folks. We have raised $2,140 out of 2,500.
All right, we are really, 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 really close. Loving it. There was a question, Nancy, did you see it? Oh, yeah. Well, now, on phone banking, our phone banks run 7 days a week, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. So if you go to the training, but then you have time to phone bank from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. on Wednesday, the phone banks are up and running. Any button that is on the phone bank page, that phone bank is up and ready for you to make calls. All right, all right. Yes. Oh, yes. So many people are going to sign up for phone banking. This is thrilling. This is thrilling. Okay, Josie is sitting there wildly with her calculator going, okay, wait a minute. Oh, all right. And she dropped the list in for all of the trainings. Now, this is great. My computer, oh, you know what? My computer hasn't been up in 6 days. My computer is going, I'm broken. Absolutely nothing is working. I cannot click my mouse. This is the wildest thing. I can't even type a URL because when I type a period, I get that crazy caret thing.
I can put it in, and again, all of it will be in the follow-up email. I know we're over time, but I just wanted to
Oh,
say we've
we're
raised
only 5 minutes over.
yeah,
I run a tight ship.
$2,390 for the match. So really thank you
Yay.
all so much. A fun little impromptu fundraiser going on in the chat.
Wow, yes, 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 yes. And I think it was Sandy, our co-director of Students for Voting Justice, right?
Yes,
For
thank you,
like,
Sandy.
yes, who just came up with this off the top of her head. So this is really, 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 really great. So we didn't, oh, right, yeah. Oh, Sandy Wheel. Yeah, that's my Andy in San Francisco. Oh, thank you. Thank you so very much. You have always done so many fantastic, wonderful, and kind things for us. Much love to you, Sandy. Love, love, love. All right. Well, at 24:15. Oh, yes, we are almost there. We are almost there. If my silly computer worked and I could do anything, all right, is it going to let me do anything? Is it? Is it? No, my computer is not having a good day. All right, let me try. Let me try. Oh, I love that. I love that. All right. Okay. Yes, yes, yes. All right. Okay.
Is there a specific link you need in the chat, Andrea?
No, no,
Okay.
no. I do not need a specific link. I'm good.
Do folks have any other questions? We're still 85 away from our goal, but I will be sending out a little email tomorrow so you can think about whether you want to donate some more and maybe give tomorrow.
All right, all right. Yeah, see, I could type, I was going to, I mean, I normally don't donate to the organization, but I was going to donate, but as I said, my computer is making up weird things when I try and type.
Sandy said it's close enough, so thank you,
All
Sandy.
right, all right. Well, I will get that. I will get us. I will go use one of my other computers that is not having a moment, or I'll just turn this one off, let it get some rest before I try to make it type again. All right. Oh, everybody, this was such a wonderful evening. I missed you so much. I've been in California. I'm going to North Carolina. So we decided let's try to work one in. So it looks like the Wednesday isn't too bad a day because now there are so many things happening on Thursdays. So maybe Wednesday becomes our new day. Maybe, maybe, maybe. Oh, and thank you. Thank you, everybody that donated. Thank you, everybody that is a volunteer, that writes postcards, that makes phone calls, that wants to learn to text with us. Thank you, every single one, and to all of our wonderful folks, our donors, our team, our staff, everybody. Thank you all so very, very much. Good night.